Welcome back to another episode of Modaufy Garage. I'm Alex, and on today's episode I'm changing the brake pad and rotors on this 2010 Subaru Impreza RS. Now, in the previous episode I changed the lower control arm, and the reason for that was trying to eliminate some of the brake vibration. However, it's still occurring, not as much, but the only way we're going to fix it now is changing the rotors and the brake pads. So let's get to it. Before I start any brake job, what I like to do is get an old coat hanger. You can use a strap, but this is what I like to do. Cut the required length that you need, put two hooks. One of the hooks will go around the brake caliper, another hook will go around the body. Now the reason for that is you don't want this brake caliper to stretch, sorry, not the brake caliper, the brake line to stretch too much. They can be quite fragile, especially when the cars get a bit older. So you just, by doing that, you're preventing any damage from happening. So I'll get started and I'll get this done first. Before I get started though, I'm going to open the bonnet, take off the cap for the brake reservoir, and then we'll get started. Okay, so I'm just taking my 14mm socket. First, what I'm going to do is undo these two bolts here, and that will remove the brake caliper for me. And take my hook and just place it, and place my caliper, just let it dangle out of the way. There we go. Okay, next thing, because I'm changing the rotor as well, first things first, I'm going to take the pads out. The next thing I want to do is take my 17mm socket and take this bracket off. So there's two bolts just behind here that I want to take off. And I might need a breaker bar for that one. It's a tight area. So my bracket is off now, and just put it down. I'll have to come back to that later. And that's how easy it is to get the brake rotor off. This surface here might mate to this surface. So what then you need to do is get two 8mm screws, 1.25 thread, or 8mm screw, put it through there, and once you do that, once you put the two screws in there, then it should just pop straight off like that. But in this case I didn't need to use that, but I was prepared just in case. This is the bracket that holds the brake caliper on the Subaru. Now, because this is the first time I've ever taken it off, what I want to do, I don't know the condition or how much grease is actually in these sliding pins. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to remove these boots. And if there's not enough grease in there, I'm going to wipe everything down, put a fresh bit of grease in there, and go. I've pulled both sliding pins out now. I have re-greased everything up. Now it's time just to give this a quick clean with a brake cleaner. And then once that's done, I can put the new brake rotor over the top of it. So I just thought I would give everything just a quick clean with brake clean before I put all the components back together again. And so what I wanted to do was just make sure that this surface is free from any rust before I put the new rotor back on. So this is the new rotor that I bought. So apparently with this one, I actually don't actually, the brand is DBA. They're not sponsoring this video. However, apparently you don't actually need to rub it off. I probably will just give it a quick clean anyway. So let's go and put everything back together again so everything's ready. Put the brake rotor on first. Brake rotor's on. And I go and put the bolts back in. Okay, so I've just had a quick break just to wash my hands because my hands did touch the brake clean and that stuff is quite corrosive. Now what I need to do is, so I've turned the wheel, I've got the brake rotor on. I just need to tighten these bolts that hold the bracket. I think from memory they're around 120 Newton meters. So I'll get those done now. I've put the bracket back on, tightened up to specs. I've got this tool which is a brake. It pushes the pistons back into a brake caliper. So basically I just do it like that. Look, you could use anything. You could get an old pad like this, put it into the brake caliper, put a G clamp behind it, or whatever you want to call it, or another type of clamp, and then squeeze them back in. But I'll just use this for now. Put a pad in front of the two pistons, get this tool out, put it in here, sit there, squeeze the trigger, and then squeeze the calipers back into position. And what I'm doing now is just keeping an eye on the brake fluid level so it doesn't overfill. So I've pushed the pistons back flat. Now I can put the brake pads in. That's one brake change done. I'll push the pedal in after. I'll go and do the other side now, and then we should be good to go. changed the brake rotors on both the right and the left hand side of the car. I've put new pads on both, did a little bit of cleaning up. I made sure the slide pins had it lubricated well enough, so I took them out, cleaned them up, pushed them back in again. I've taken the car for a drive, but before I took the car for a drive, I started the car up, pushed the brake pedal till it started to get some pressure back into it, tested it on the driveway before I took it on the road, took it for a quick drive, built up some speed, slowed down, but I did around the block. Everything's fine. The vibration, the brake is gone. Everything's good now. I have had a look at the original brakes that I pulled off, and they're not 100% flat. So look, I could have probably shaved those, but in this instance, I decided to change them to put new parts on. If you like the video, hit that like button. And if you want to see more content from Modaufy Garage, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you on the next video.